What is next for Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons after the benching? I want to talk all about his contract, his no trade clause, and ultimately what the 2025 year is going to look like for both parties here. So let me start off by saying Kirk Cousins holds all the power. He has a no trade clause. And if I were him and the team that benched me signed me in March, promised that I would kind of be the next and last stop of my career, and then drafted a quarterback in April, I don't think I would do right by the team. And so Kirk Cousins has all the power here to just go, you know what? I've got a no trade clause. I'm not going to let you guys get a pick for me. You have to release me. You're not going to get anything for my services. I've already got my $90 million guaranteed. $10 more million becomes guaranteed 4 years after the new league year begins, which is March 12th. And so the Falcons are likely in a sticky situation here with no other recourse other than releasing him, which is why my guess is Kirk will get released. Maybe a team trades for him if Cousins wants to go to that team and that team doesn't want to risk losing him in free agency. But it's going to be weird because what team is going to want to trade for Kirk and take on the remainder of his contract? No, they're going to want the Falcons to release him, and then they sign him to the vet minimum contract, and Atlanta is forced to pay out the remaining balance of his contract for 2025. Now, if the Falcons do release him before June 1st, there is a $65 million dead cap hit for 2025. The Broncos just took on an $85 million dead cap hit, so this wouldn't be the largest in NFL history, but it would be the second largest. Now, my guess is Atlanta would not do that. They would do this. They would designate him as one of their 2 post-June 1 releases. That makes his dead cap hit for 2025 $40 million. You can work with that. Sure, it's not optimal, but we've seen teams deal with much worse. 2026 million dead cap hit of $25 million. So my guess is this is the route Atlanta goes. Now, Cousins can still sign somewhere before June 1st, but it's just one of those kind of, I wouldn't say loopholes because it exists for this reason, but you only get 2 post-June 1 designations, and my guess is Atlanta would want to spread out the dead cap hit over 2025 and 2026, although maybe they just decide, let's bite the bullet so our books are completely clean from Kirk in 2026. So we're going to talk next about some trade destinations for Kirk Cousins and whatnot. But make sure to subscribe to the channel. A big offseason is coming up. Atlanta has a lot of work to do on their defense. We're going to run through mock drafts, free agency news and rumors. We're closing in on 31,000 subscribers. So if you are looking for a go-to Atlanta Falcons YouTube channel, I invite you to follow today. So here's what Kirk Cousins, by the way, had to say on his benching. And I want to bring this up because I want to talk about his future a little bit here. I didn't forget how to play quarterback. Certainly turnovers were not what you want, but I didn't forget how to play. Well, let me ask you, do you think he did? Like, is this the end of Kirk Cousins in the NFL from what we saw the last couple of weeks? I'm going to need someone a lot smarter than me to tell me how Kirk Cousins went from throwing 500 yards and a franchise single game best and all those touchdowns against the Bucs, winning in overtime to no touchdowns in 4 games, and then throwing 1 in the first quarter against the Raiders on Monday Night Football. So if a team out there does decide we do want to trade for Cousins, which I really struggle with grappling around, but then again, I didn't see the Penix pick coming, and I didn't see Atlanta dumping Kirk Cousins 15 weeks or 14 weeks into year 1. So who's to say there isn't more surprises around the corner? If the Falcons could find a trade partner, this would be optimal. Their dead cap hit is $37.5 million for this year, and they even get some cap savings. So this is obviously priority or route number 1 the Falcons would like to go down. But again, I go back to what I said earlier. I would not get your hopes on this. This one seems like a long shot to me. So I have some trade destinations I want to go through in case, or potential signing destinations if you're curious what's next for Kirk. First one up, Cleveland Browns. This one makes just too much sense to me given the need at quarterback for the Browns. They moved on from Jameis Winston. They benched him for Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Deshaun Watson is coming off an Achilles injury of his own, so they might be looking right now at what's going on with Rodgers and Cousins and go, well, we can expect the same from Watson this upcoming season. So, yeah, there's not a whole lot of great quarterbacks on this roster at the moment. So Kirk Cousins could be a nice fit for the Browns. Again, I don't want anyone getting their hopes up on a trade happening. My guess is the Browns would just wait for Cousins to get released and then sign him, but you never quite know. Maybe they're a little bit anxious. The Browns do love making trades. They made a lot of them under GM Andrew Berry, and they could look at their two quarterbacks that started this year so far as quarterbacks they do not want to start in 2025. Deshaun Watson, the numbers themselves kind of speak for themselves, and then Jameis Winston this year, just way too many turnovers since taking over in Week 8. He leads the NFL in turnovers since becoming a starter in Week 8 for Cleveland. Plus, Kevin Stefanski and Kirk Cousins overlapped briefly in Minnesota, so the fit could be well for both parties. But the real question comes down to whether or not any team out there thinks Kirk Cousins is still a starting caliber quarterback. And if they have reservations about it, they're not wrong. Look at the last month and change, what we have seen every single Sunday. Why would any team out there rightfully think Kirk Cousins is about to make a complete 180? Before we get on to the other trade destinations, I do want to give a shout out to our friends over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash during Pickmas. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. PrizePicks offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals. So look at my selections for this upcoming weekend. Feel free to play along if you would like. Just download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. So, trade destination number 2, Tennessee Titans. Trade's a strong word. Let's call it landing spot for Kirk Cousins. But the Titans, I could see being interested in acquiring Cousins because they are currently slotted to pick 6 in the upcoming NFL draft. There are only 2 quarterbacks in my eyes worthy of a first-round pick, Cam Ward out of Miami and Shedeur Sanders from Colorado. And between you and me, I'm not very high on either quarterback as a real NFL prospect. But the Titans, I think, are going to be out of striking distance for those 2 guys. And they likely are not going to run it back with Will Levis or Mason Rudolph. Neither one has given them very inspiring play so far this year. And if they're not in reach of one of those 2 coveted first-round projected quarterbacks, I doubt they want to try the round 2 approach again. That got them Will Levis, and jobs are on the line in Nashville. GM Rand Carthon took over a team that, not too long ago was in the AFC Championship game. Now they are picking top 10 in the draft for a second straight season. So I could see Carthon going, there's no option in the draft that's any better than what I have right now. I'm just going to bank on Cousins, letting Mother Nature and time do its thing and heal his body up a little bit more from that October 2023 Achilles tear. And we see old Kirk Cousins in 2025, and I'm going to put all my eggs in that basket because there's not a better basket out there. Third and final destination to keep an eye on, what about the Indianapolis Colts? I think they still stand by Anthony Richardson, but maybe they're kind of ready to go on, right? You can look at Richardson's numbers this season. He's been in and out of the lineup. They got him to start 4 or 5 games. He started the last 4 games in a row, and that's the longest streak of his NFL career. But we are talking about the Colts. They do have a fetish for different Week 1 starters over the last decade. Let's go through it. Andrew Luck in 2015. 2016, Luck got hurt in the preseason, so Scott Tolzien, all-time trivia, started Week 1, and then Luck started the rest of the year. Luck missed all of 2017 with a torn labrum that he got surgery on in the offseason. Comes back and starts in 2018. Then he retires in preseason 2019. So Brissett starts. Then they start their adventure of veteran quarterbacks. Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan. They decide, enough of that. We're going to go to the draft. We're going to get a young quarterback. Anthony Richardson has not really worked out. So I still think they stick with Richardson for another season, but I wouldn't put it past Indianapolis and Irsay to go, we had better years with Phillip Rivers and Carson Wentz than Anthony Richardson right now from the quarterback position. So let's trot out another veteran quarterback because that's all we know. Now, 3 teams I'm not going to put on my list that other people are. The Raiders and the Giants, they are picking 1 and 2. They are the worst teams in football. They are so far removed from even being in contention to win a game. I mean, think about it. Even with the Falcons playing as bad as they have, the Raiders still came up 35 yards short, and that was against a bad reeling Falcons team. It's not going to get any easier for Las Vegas. They've got the Chargers coming up, and then they play the Chiefs, or no, I forgot who their last game is against, or their next week's game is against. But anywho, these 2 teams, they are picking 1 and 2. The 49ers have been I wouldn't say heavily rumored team, but a softly rumored team because of the connection or the long-awaited connection between Kyle Shanahan and Kirk Cousins. There are rumors from years ago that Shanahan wanted Cousins in San Francisco. Ultimately, he went to Minnesota. The Niners got Jimmy Garoppolo. The Niners went to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. So they're like, I guess this isn't going to work out now. The timing was just never right. But if something were to happen to Brock Purdy, or they just aren't very confident about Purdy because he hasn't had a very good season, maybe they decide to bring Kirk Cousins over as a backup, kind of like Sam Darnold, and it just can be like Kyle Shanahan's little project. But give me your prediction for where Kirk Cousins will play in 2025. Let me know in the comment section below where you think Kirk is going to strap up.